Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Kiribathgoda, and I welcome you all to this business communication course that you are going to start. And I hope you have gained a thorough knowledge of the business management course that you're already following. And so, since I'm doing this business communication part, I'm planning to provide you with a detailed structure as to how we are going to plan this course and plan our lessons ahead. So let me first introduce myself. So I'm Kiribathgoda, as I told you, and I have specialized in teaching English as a second language, and I graduated from the University of California in 2020. And I also have completed my postgraduate diploma in teaching English as a second language at Open University of Sri Lanka. And currently, I'm reading for my master's degree in linguistics, and that is also at University of California. So since I graduated in 2020, I've been working in different institutes like Aquinas College, and also I have been a temporary lecturer at the Department of English Language Teaching of University of California. So I have the expertise in the field. Right. So the course that you are about to follow is business communication. And in today's lesson, we are planning to look at the introduction to business communication. So to start off with, I am going to share with you the curriculum that we are about to follow. So as you can see, in this course, the plan, the learning outcomes are that the students may identify the essential components of successful corporate communication, and they will be able to, by the end of the course, they will be able to create correspondence documents for business utilizing standard formats, and also demonstrate proficiency in oral presentations individually in groups. For this, we have separate lessons where we will be looking at presentation skills and so on. And also, you will be able to conduct productive and efficient team meetings and small group conversations. And for this, we will be conducting several small talk sessions. We will be talking about meetings, how to use the language properly during those meetings and such. And define the term skill development and discuss the importance of doing so for a successful career, and demonstrate proper etiquettes in business and social dealings, demonstrate strong relationships using social abilities, use self-discipline techniques in a work environment. So mainly what we're looking at is communication, and specifically in communication also we are going to look at how to deal in a business corporate world. So I will share with you the course content. As you can see in this curriculum, we have to follow introduction to business communication, which we are going to look at today. And we are going to look at business correspondence. We are going to look at presentation skills, which will be really helpful for you when it comes to doing presentations, and not only just presentations, but when it comes to speaking in the public, and your communicational skills when it comes to meetings, conference, and in small groups. We will be looking at the skills development, personal development and self-management, business etiquettes and grooming, creating networks and enhancing social skills. We will be looking at public speaking and making a career plan. So these are the main things that we will be looking at in this particular course. Right. So we are going to move on to our lesson, right, which is Introduction to Business Communication. That is our main lesson today. So I have a question for you. What is communication? So before learning about business communication, we should actually know what communication is. So when it comes to communication, I want you to think for yourself. I want you to pause the video, right? I want you to pause the video and think, what is the answer? What is communication? So we always communicate with people, right? And we use different ways to communicate. So what is communication? Think to yourself, pause the video and think to yourself, what is communication? Without communication, can we actually live? Not only in the business environment, but in any other place. Can we live without communicating? No, right? So communication is a very important thing, which is crucial for everything, for social well-being, so for enhancing our skills, for spreading our ideas, spreading our thoughts, right? For every way, every possible thing in our lives, communication is important. Now, think, what are the methods you use for communication? Now, there are different ways, right? There are different ways that can be used for communication. For example, now I'm communicating with you. I use verbal communication, and also I have a PowerPoint presentation which makes it visual communication. So from the images, from the letters, and from everything that I've used, you get the idea that I'm trying to deliver some kind of a message to you, right? From all these clues, you get the idea that I'm going to deliver a message. And by looking at these clues, you get a small idea about what I'm trying to deliver to you. So there are different methods that we use for communication. For example, as I told you, one is verbal communication, just like what I'm doing now. And it can be in a different context when you're talking with your family members, when you're talking with your friends, when you're talking with your colleagues, when you're texting with your colleagues. That is also communication, right? Not only texting, not only verbal communication, but texting, which can be categorized under written communication, is also a method of communication. Now, apart from these two, what are the methods? What are the other methods you use for communication? Think about those things. So you might be using emails, letters, reports. At meetings, you are using verbal communication, and you're using the social networks, right? Social media is again another method of communication. So in the present world, there are so many ways that we can use for communication, right? But why is communication important? Now, this is a crucial question. Why is communication important? I want you to think for yourselves, why is communication important? Now, when it comes to our day-to-day life, we can't do anything without communication. I'm not talking about only business communication. I'm talking about communication in general. Without communication, we can't actually live. We can't ask for anything from anyone. If we are just keeping the thoughts to ourselves, it will be a very difficult thing to do. So in order to achieve our goals, right, we have to communicate. In order to achieve our goals, we have to communicate with others. So communication is very important for one person to achieve their goals, to create a very sociable environment. If you are a very introvert person who is not willing to talk with people much, you will be called an introvert. Then you will not be able to create a very sociable environment around you if you're not communicating with people too much. So again, in order to create a very sociable, friendly, amicable environment around you, you should communicate with people, right? To achieve your goals, to create a sociable environment, and to express your ideas, to put your ideas into the out, to to make your ideas successful, to achieve your goals. Communication is very much important. Now, this is a definition of communication: the process by which people exchange information or express their thoughts and feelings. Now, communication is not just speaking or texting or sending a message. but they use communication to exchange information, right? We are giving someone some information, and they return the same thing, information. Or we can use communication to express thoughts and feelings. Now, if you're feeling something, we can express it. Sometimes it does not actually have to be verbal communication. It does not have to be verbally communicated to the other person, but we can use facial expressions. So if you're feeling sad, you can show it from your face. So there are different types of communication as well, right? So if you think about the definition of communication, we can take it as the process by which people exchange information or express their thoughts and feelings, right? We will move forward. Now, if you look at this image, I want you to take your time, pause the video, and look at the image and try to identify what is being said in the image. This image actually shows you how communication is done. Now, there is person A, right? There is person A and there is person B. The person A is the speaker, which means he is the one who is sending the message, right? Person A is the speaker, the one who is sending the message. And person B is the one who is receiving the message. We can call him the receiver. There is a sender, there is the receiver. Now, in this case, I am the sender and you are the receiver, right? Now, the person A, who is the sender, sends a message, right? Sends a message. In order to send this message, he has to use the parts of his body, which is the brain, right? The tongue, the mouth, the teeth, to create the message and put it down. It's not, as you can see, it's a very simple thing to do, but it's not a simple process. So we call this encoding, right? So in the mind of the person A, who is the sender of the message, encoding takes place. Now he encodes the message and sends the message out by using his body parts, mainly brain, tongue, teeth, mouth, right? So he sends the message. Now there is a medium, a channel for sending this message, maybe verbally, maybe through a text message, maybe by facial expressions, maybe by a written letter, right? There are different mediums that can be used, and the receiver receives the message. So here, the receiver does the same process in a different way, which is called decoding, right, in his mind to understand what the sender is trying to say. So encoding and decoding takes place in communication. If these two happen, that means there is communication. Now, talking to yourself cannot be exactly specified as communication because these two processes don't take place. But if you are involving another person, that means these two processes are taking place, encoding and decoding. So at such places, we can say that communication is taking place. So as you can see, this is not a very simple process, right? It has a complex process which involves our brain and other body parts and a message, channel, medium, and the receiver. Let's move on to the next part. Right, this is another picture which talks about the communication process. Now here again, there is a sender, encoder, right, and a receiver, decoder. So these two people are exchanging information. Now, all the processes that we talked about earlier regarding the brain, how encoding takes place, how there is a channel or a medium, and how the decoding takes place happens in this place also. Now, when talking, we have experiences, we talk with experience, sometimes attitudes, sometimes we talk with skills, and sometimes we have different perceptions. These affect the receiver. From the way, from the attitude, from the experience, skill, and the perception we have, when we are giving out the message, the receiver also gets some kind of a perception, whether he's talking sadly, whether he's talking happily, whether he's trying to give me an attitude when talking, right? So these things can be identified from the way you speak. For example, from the tone you use and from the body language, from the facial expressions you use, these things can be identified. So the communication mode can be verbal, non-verbal, it can be written, emails, web, pictures, any mode of communication. But whatever the mode of communication you use, there can be experiences, attitudes, skills, and perceptions involved, which may affect the receiver. And he may get an idea as to what sort of attitudes you have towards the subject you're talking about and towards the receiver. So it is very much important that you learn about communication and specifically about business communication, because you have to be very ethical when it comes to business communication, right? So we have to talk about these things. Yes. Now, as we discussed, there are different types of communication. We talked about verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, and also there is visual communication. We are going to look at all these 4 types of communication today. So verbal communication, of course, we can understand from the name itself what it means, right? Verbally communicating, verbal communication. It means communication using words, the type of communication that happens in most of the places. So in meetings, maybe phone calls, right? Not emails, not reports, right? So I wanted you to go through these 4 types and find out what comes under verbal communication. So meetings and phone calls come under verbal communication, and emails and reports do not. So meetings, phone calls, small talks, dialogues, day-to-day conversations, these come under verbal communication. Lectures, right? Classes, all these come under verbal communication. That means communicating using words. Now, when it comes to verbal communication, in order to make it effective, there are certain tips that we should follow. There should be clarity, right? We have to be very careful about what we are talking, unless it's a friend or a relative or a family member. If we are talking with a colleague, we have to be very careful. It has to be very concise, right? We should not try to talk about everything and make it a very messy communication. But in order to make it effective, we have to have clarity and it should be concise. And also, in order in order for verbal communication to be effective, there should be an active listener. Without an active listener, effective verbal communication does not take place. Now imagine you're listening to this lecture and you're not listening actively. Maybe you're on the phone watching some videos, you're just listening. In such places, effective communication does not happen. I'm trying to give you a message, I'm trying to give you information, but it is not successful because you're not listening actively. So in order for effective verbal communication to take place, there should be an active listener. An active listener always listens actively. He tries to keep all the distractions away, right? And also, he answers questions. An effective listener might ask questions. So in such places, effective verbal communication takes place. Proper encoding and decoding of messages take place. Right. Let's move on to the other part, which is non-verbal communication. Here, non-verbal communication means communication without words. It can be by using body language, facial expressions, right? So in non-verbal communication, we do not use words like in verbal communication. We use our body language. We use our facial expressions. The importance of non-verbal communication is it helps you to convey emotions and attitudes. Now, in verbal communication as well, non-verbal communication can be incorporated. It happens, right? It naturally happens. These two are interconnected. So in non-verbal communication, the importance is they convey emotions and attitudes. Now, if a person is sad, right? If a person is sad and talking with you, without, if you neglect the words he say, from his facial expressions and emotions and attitudes, you will be able to understand that this person is sad. So there already a communication has taken place. From the facial expression, from the sad face, he is giving out a message that he is sad, he's encoding a message that he is sad, and by identifying that, you are decoding the message that the person is sad, right? So it is very much important. Nonverbal communication is very much important because it helps you to convey emotions and attitudes. Other examples of nonverbal communication is eye contact, gestures, posture, right? If you are keeping eye contact with the people you talk, it creates some kind of confident attitude about you. From the gestures you have, they can decode different attitudes about you, whether you're shy, whether you're outgoing, whether you're confident. Likewise, different things can be communicated. And the posture also matters, right? If you're just grouting and not having a very good posture, they might find you to be a less confident person, shy person. But if you have a good posture and you talk with open arms, they might find you very confident. For effective nonverbal communication to take place, you have to maintain eye contact, appropriate eye contact, right? When you're talking with a person, you should have the confidence to look him in the eye and talk with the person. If you're just looking this way, that way, and trying to give out the message, it will not be effective. So for you, in order to have effective nonverbal communication, even when you're using words, even when you're using verbal communication, you should maintain appropriate eye contact. And also, you have to be mindful of your gestures. You have to be very careful about the gestures you use. Ensure posture is open and inviting. Now, from the body language, other people can identify whether you want to have the whether you want to continue the communication process, whether you want to continue the chat, or whether you want to stop it as soon as possible. So that is why nonverbal communication is that much important. It conveys emotions and attitudes. If the other person, if the other party feels that you're not ready to talk with them, it will be a bad point on your side when it comes to business communication and other instances of life too, right? So ensure your posture is open and inviting. You have to make sure that other people are ready to talk with you, communicate with you. They should feel that you are a friendly person and a good colleague to work with. So that's why nonverbal communication is important. Right. So I have already planned a small game to play with y'all, but since this is the recording, what I want you to do is when you're dealing in the society, maybe even in your home, I want you to try and find out about the nonverbal communication clues given by those who are around you, right? What do they do? If they are sad, how do they show it? Not verbally, but by using body language and facial expressions, attitudes, perceptions, etc. Right? Without using, how do they do it? I want you to identify and observe what are the expressions, what are the body language they use in different situations. When they are happy, what do they do? If they are sad, how do they show it? If they are afraid, how do they show it? Right? Likewise, I want you to think about it. Right. Now we have talked about verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and we are going to talk about written communication. So here, written communication, as the word implies, is communication through written symbols, letters, memos, reports, right? Different types. There can be, we can communicate by using letters, reports, and memos, text messages, emails. These come under written communication. So characteristics of written communication are that they are permanent records, which make them very special. And you have to be very careful when doing written communication. Imagine you're writing a letter. It's a permanent record. It should not have any errors. Okay, that's why learning English language is important. It should not have any errors. Grammar, vocabulary, or any errors should not be there because it might give you a bad insight about you to the reader. And when it comes to written communication in the business context, it's always formal. There are certain structures that you should follow, right? And there are certain words and phrases that you have to follow. So written communication in business world is always formal, can be reviewed multiple times. Since these are permanent records, these can be reviewed multiple times. These can be reread over and over again, can be read multiple times. Therefore, we should try to avoid any errors that we can make. Effective written communication tips. What are the tips that we can use when it comes to effective written communication? There should be a clear structure, correct grammar and punctuation, and the language should be concise. So during our course, we are going to look at different types of written communication that are important when it comes to business communication. And we are going to see we are going to learn about different structures, and we are going to learn about different grammar, punctuation, and language structures that can be used when it comes to business written communication, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to play a video, right? This is about communication and business communication. I want you to watch the video and note down the important points. When you're watching, I want you to take a pen and a paper, right, or a book. Note down all the important things that you hear when watching the video, and we will discuss.
Learn importance of business communication. Good communication means your message is being sent and those receiving it clearly understand it in its entirety. Because of this, they are more likely to respond to it in a positive manner. When this occurs, it means the message was communicated effectively. Communication is one of the most basic functions of management in any organization. Its importance can never be overemphasized. It is the process of transmitting ideas, thoughts, information, opinions, and plans between various parts of an organization, or sometimes to those on the outside of an organization who have a vested interest in the business and need to know the information. 4 benefits of improving business communication. 1. Increased productivity. The success of any project is dependent upon the ability of staff members to collaborate, and effective business communication is the key to successful teamwork. 2. Help grow customer base. One importance of communication in business is that a customer is without a doubt the lifeblood of any business. Businesses rely on clients for their survival. Effective external communication can help attract new customers and retain the existing ones. 3. Improve business partnership. Another importance of effective communication in business is improved partnership. Communication is crucial when dealing with suppliers and other external business contacts. 4. Facilitate business innovations. The final importance of effective business communication is that with it help facilitate business innovation. As the world is becoming globalized, you will need to take advantage of this fact and grow your audience and customer base. Good communication can endear you among your clients, increase your brand image among your seniors, and cause you to be admired among those work under you. It can also help you in taking your business to the next level and earn you high profits. If you found this video helpful, then like, share and subscribe our Young Entrepreneurs Forum to get future videos.
Right. So it's a bit fast. So I'm going to play the video again. You can listen carefully, and they are writing down the tips as well. You can pay your attention to them. After playing it again, we will go back with the video and pause and discuss about the points that they are saying.
Learn importance of business communication. Good communication means your message is being sent and those receiving it clearly understand it in its entirety. Because of this, they are more likely to respond to it in a positive manner. When this occurs, it means the message was communicated effectively. Communication is one of the most basic functions of management in any organization. Its importance can never be overemphasized. It is the process of transmitting ideas, thoughts, information, opinions, and plans between various parts of an organization, or sometimes to those on the outside of an organization who have a vested interest in the business and need to know the information. 4 benefits of improving business communication. 1. Increased productivity. The success of any project is dependent upon the ability of staff members to collaborate, and effective business communication is the key to successful teamwork. 2. Help grow customer base. One importance of communication in business is that a customer is without a doubt the lifeblood of any business. Businesses rely on clients for their survival. Effective external communication can help attract new customers and retain the existing ones. 3. Improve business partnership. Another importance of effective communication in business is improved partnership. Communication is crucial when dealing with suppliers and other external business contacts. 4. Facilitate business innovations. The final importance of effective business communication is that with it help facilitate business innovation. As the world is becoming globalized, you will need to take advantage of this fact and grow your audience and customer base. Good communication can endear you among your clients, increase your brand image among your seniors, and cause you to be admired among those work under you. It can also help you in taking your business to the next level and earn you high profits. If you found this video helpful, then like, share and subscribe our Young Entrepreneurs Forum to get future videos.
Right. We will go through the video and we will discuss what they are talking about.
Learn importance of business communication. Good communication means your message is being sent and those receiving it clearly understand it in its entirety. Importance of business communication. Good communication means your message is being sent and those receiving it clearly understand it in its entirety. Because
Right. Good communication means your message is being sent and those who are receiving it clearly understands it's in its entirety, right? So if you're sending a message, if the other person understands understand it fully, we can call it good communication.
of this, they are more likely to respond to it in a positive manner. When this occurs, it means the message was communicated effectively.
Right. If good communication is taken place, they will respond to you in a positive manner. If they do not understand what you're trying to say, the communication process is not successful. When this occurs, if positive responses, if you get positive responses, it means the communication process is successful and it means the message was communicated effectively.
Communication is one of the most basic functions of management in any organization.
Right. If you take an organization, communication is the base of the organization. In managing the organization, it is the base of any organization, any institute, right? So communication is the key. Right?
Its importance can never be overemphasized. It is the process of transmitting ideas, thoughts, information, opinions, and plans between various parts of an organization, or sometimes to those on the outside of an organization who have a vested interest in the business and need to know the information.
Right. It is the process of transmitting ideas. Communication in business management is the process of transmitting ideas, exchanging ideas, thoughts, information, opinions, and plans between various parts of an organization, or sometimes to those on the outside of an organization who have a vested interest in the business and need to know the information. So it's not just within the organization, but can be outside of the organization as well.
To know the information. 4 benefits of improving business communication. 1. Increased productivity. The success of any project is dependent upon the ability of staff members to collaborate, and effective business communication is the key to successful team.
Right. Now, there are benefits, advantages when it comes to effective business communication. The first one is increased productivity. The success of any project is dependent upon the ability of staff members to collaborate and effective business communication. Collaborate and effective business communication is the key to successful teamwork. Now, in an institute, right, in an organization, in a company, if the staff members are not capable of communicating properly, the productivity will be decreased. The productivity will decrease, right? So, in order to have increased productivity, right, to make the project successful, make any project successful, the ability of staff members to collaborate effectively is the key for any project to be successful. So, in order to have in order to increase the productivity, there should be a successful, effective business communication within the organization. So if you are incapable of producing the proper message that you want to give out, there will not be proper communication, right? And the productivity will instantly decrease.
Work. 2. Help grow customer base. One importance of communication in business is that a customer is without a doubt the lifeblood of any business. Businesses rely on clients for their survival. Effective external communication can help attract new customers and retain the existing ones.
Right. The other one is, the second importance is help grow customer base. So you have to have communication with your customers. You have to communicate with your customers. One importance of communication in business is that a customer is without a doubt the lifeblood of any business. So we all know that customer is the lifeblood of any business. So if you are not capable of effectively communicating with your customers, again, the customer base will not grow. Businesses rely on clients for their survival, right? To have clients is how a business can grow. And if you cannot communicate with the clients properly and according to the proper structures with proper etiquettes and proper ethics, again, the customer base will not grow. Effective external communication can help attract new customers and retain the existing ones. Therefore, having proper communication strategies, having a proper communication system for yourself is very much important, and learning about these communication processes, structures, and systems is very much important when it comes to business communication. And if you're someone who is planning to grow your business, help to grow your business, you should learn about these things.
The existing ones. 3. Improve business partnership. Another importance of effective communication in business is improved partnership. Communication is crucial when dealing with suppliers and other external business contacts. 4.
Right. Third importance is to improve business partnership. Right. Another importance of effective communication is this in business is to improve partnership. Communication is crucial when dealing with suppliers and other external business contacts. Now, just like when you're dealing with clients, you might have to deal with the partners, business partners. And again, when it comes to dealing with business partners, you should know how to communicate effectively, how to create a proper email, how to create a proper letter, or what are the words and what are the structures that you have to use when it comes to communicating with these people. So that is what we are actually looking at in our course, right? So we have different lessons that we will be breaking down to give you the proper ideas as to how to communicate properly.
Acts. 4. Facilitate business innovations. The final importance of effective business communication is that with it help facilitate business innovation. As the world is becoming globalized, you will need to take advantage of this fact and grow your audience.
Right. Fourth importance is facilitate business innovations. The final importance of effective business communication is that with it, help facilitate business innovation. As the world is becoming globalized, right? We all know the world is becoming globalized. It has already globalized. You will need to take advantage of this fact and grow your audience and customer base. Now, there are different ways you can communicate with clients, your customer base. You have TikTok, you have Instagram, you have emails, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, right? These platforms, these new technology and these social platforms can be taken as an advantage on your part to communicate your ideas to the world. So still, if you do not how to communicate your ideas properly, it is going to be a bad thing for your business. So we should know how to communicate our ideas properly. That is very important.
Audience and customer base. Good communication can endear you among your clients, increase your brand image among your seniors, and cause you to be admired among those work under you.
Right. So if you have good communication skills, good business communication skills, and you have the ability to endear among your clients, you will be loved by everyone, right? If you know what words to use in this place and what etiquettes to be used in such places, and you will be loved by everyone. And it will increase your brand image among your seniors. You will be favored by everyone because you will be seen and highlighted as a person who has good communication skills, who has good etiquettes when it comes to communication. And also, it will help you, cause you to be admired among those work under you. You can become a role model if you have the proper business communication skills, right? Therefore, business communication is very much important for your own growth, not only for your own growth, but also for the development of your business as well.
It can also help you in taking your business to the next level and earn you high profits.
Right. As I said, it can help you develop your business into something better, make your business become successful.
If you found this video helpful,
Right. So these are the benefits, advantages of business communication, right? So these things might help you. If you have these business communication skills, they are going to help you develop as a person, and as well as they are going to help you to improve your business and make it a successful one. Right. Let's move forward. Now, we talked a lot about business communication. We are going to look at some definitions of business communication. One definition that we can give for business communication is that communication is the process of sharing information, ideas, or feelings between individuals or groups. Now, when it comes to business communication or any communication, it is the process of sharing information. It is a process we discussed earlier. The process of encoding and decoding involves, right? So communication is the process of sharing information or ideas or feelings between individuals or groups. So communication can take place between two people, or it can take place among a group. So it depends. So according to this one, Adler and Elmhorst in 2010, as they said, communication is the process of sharing information, ideas, or feelings between individuals or groups. Another definition for business communication is communication. Business communication refers to the exchange of information and ideas, right? As said earlier, exchange or sharing information and ideas, both verbal and non-verbal, right? These ideas or information can be verbal or non-verbal within an organization. Now, business communication, this is the difference between these two definitions. One talks about general communication, whereas the second one talks about business communication specifically. So here, business communication happens within an organization, right? And communication just takes place generally. So business communication, as said by Guffey and Louie in 2013, refers to the exchange of information and ideas, both verbal and non-verbal. Can be verbal, can be non-verbal, meaning can be written, or can be gestures, or can be expressions or attitudes within an organization. So when it comes to business communication, verbal and written communication play a major role. You have to write emails, you have to write memos, you have to write reports, you have to write letters. So much written communication takes place within an organization, right? So definition 3. Third definition. According to Locker and Kinsler in 2014, they say effective business communication is the ability to convey information and ideas in a clear and understandable manner. So effective business communication is the ability to convey information and ideas in a clear and understandable manner. So earlier in the video also we came across this idea. In order for effective communication or business communication to take place, the ideas and information should be conveyed in a clear and understandable manner. The other party involved, the receiver of the message, should understand the message in its entirety. Right? He should be able to understand what the information, the idea, the message we are trying to give out in its full. If he does not understand, or if he partially understands, effective communication or effective business communication has not taken place, right? So in order for effective business communication to take place, the other party involved should understand the information and ideas conveyed in a clear and understandable manner. So these are 3 definitions that we can give for business communication. Right. Another definition I have for business communication. Business communication involves sharing information between people within and outside an organization for commercial benefits. Now, business communication mainly takes place within or outside an organization for commercial benefit. So we can call it sharing information between people within and outside an organization for commercial benefit. So these are 3 definitions we can give for business communication. Right. We earlier also discussed about some importance, 4 main importance benefits of business communication. Here also I have given you some. Facilitates coordination and cooperation. Yes, when it comes to business communication, In order to maintain proper balance between an organization and to coordinate and make the staff members cooperate, there should be an effective business communication within the organization. If it is not happening, that means the business is not going to be successful. If the staff members are not communicating properly and maintaining a proper effective business communication criteria, that means it is a disadvantage for the business. And also, business communication helps you to enhance decision making. If the staff members are capable of sharing their ideas properly, effectively, it enhances decision making. Now, if you are an employee at any of the organizations, and if you have an idea that can help your business to grow, and if you can communicate it properly using the proper language and proper structures, it will be a plus point for the business. And also, business communication. Effective business communication helps you to build relationships and professional image. As we discussed earlier, it will create a good image about you. If you have the ability to communicate properly, verbally, non-verbally, and using written communication, if you are capable of doing it effectively, it will create good relationships, and also it will create a professional image about you among the others. Therefore, business communication is very important. Right. So, importance of communication, business communication is continued here. I want you to take a minute and go through these points. Take a minute and read all the importance of communication that are mentioned here. Right, we will go through them. So again, it acts as a basis of coordination. We discussed this point earlier as well. In order for the staff members, the employees to have a better coordination, business communication is important and helps in smooth working of an enterprise. To have a smooth workplace, to have a smooth communicating, better workplace and a productive workplace, again, business communication is important. Acts as a basis of decision making. We discussed this one as well earlier. When it comes to making decisions, if you have the ability to communicate your ideas effectively and properly, it is going to be helpful for the productivity of the company. Increases managerial efficiency. If the management is capable of conveying messages, communicating effectively with the employees, it's going to be very effective. Promotes cooperation and industrial peace, right? So if you have good communication, it's not going to hinder the industrial peace. It will create a smooth communication between all the members of the organization. Establishes effective leadership, and also if good communication takes place, it will show that there is a good leadership that is leading the industry, the place. Yes, and also it's going to boost the morale of the workers and provide motivation for them to work effectively, helps in training and development, helps to maintain public relations. So, in order to have a better communication, better relationship with the public or your colleagues or the clients, you have to have proper business communication. Let's move forward. Now, this is a reading activity, right? I have some questions for you, and I want you to read the passage and try to find the answers for the questions that I have given. I will read the passage with you, and you can pause the video and try to find the answers. Right. Technology has changed business in many ways, but its effect on communication is arguably the most significant. The use of technology in daily business operations is constantly evolving, and one such example is the use of technology in business communication. Being in touch is very important to businesses. That is why it is no wonder why a lot of resources is spent in improving the communication procedures of various businesses. The revolution of the internet has allowed businesses to have more options as far as business communication was concerned. It made the technologies of software, hardware, and network coverage into one cohesive and solid system, which made the optimization of various business procedures faster. Indeed, the employees and the organization as a whole greatly benefit from the use of technology in business. With a feasible business plan, organization can save a lot of money and raise the level of productivity of the staff if the use of technology were well planned and executed. Even medium scale companies now have a chance to participate in the fierce competition among large businesses. This is just one proof that technology in business communication is capable of increasing worker productivity. If you come to think about the advantages, do not need an employee to undergo a radical adjustment. On the contrary, tasks are made simpler and more convenient for the user. So the passage talks about how technology has changed businesses in many ways, and how technology has created an effect on the communication process in businesses. So that is the passage about. I want you to pause the video and go through the passage and try to find the answers for these questions. The first question is, what is considered the most significant effect of technology on business? What is considered the most significant effect of technology on business? Why do businesses invest heavily on improving their communication procedure? The first question is, what is considered the most significant effect of technology on business? Why do businesses invest heavily in improving their communication procedures? Third question, how has the internet revolutionized business communication? In what ways can a well-planned use of technology benefit an organization? How has technology in business communication impacted medium-scale companies? I want you to go through the passage and find answers for these questions. Right. Again, relating to the same passage, we have another small two passages. We will go through them as well. Whether you need to speak with an employee who is traveling in another state or country, or you need to communicate with your supplier halfway around the world, technology allows you to do so instantaneously. In fact, thanks to email and text messages, you can now send messages to people in other time zones before you forget without worrying that you will wake them up. In fact, the internet has allowed business people to communicate easily regardless of the time zones and language issues, right? So I want you to read this passage and find the answers for these two questions as well. How does technology facilitate communication with employees or suppliers located in different states or countries? How does technology facilitate communication with employees or suppliers located in different states or countries? So you can read and find the answer. Next question is, what advantages does the internet offer for business communication across different time zones and language barriers? What advantages does the internet offer for business communication across different time zones and language barriers? Yes, you can read again and find the answers. What are the advantages the internet offer for business communication? So you can talk about how instantly you can communicate, right, across different time zones, and that you can avoid, you can neglect the language issues and time zones, right? You can talk about these things when you are answering the question. Right. The next one is, technology allows individuals to communicate and carry on a business relationship without ever meeting face to face. Technology allows individuals to communicate and carry on a business relationship without ever meeting face to face. So people in all parts of the world now have the chance to interact with a company in a rural part of India. For example, technology allowed for the emergence of the virtual assistant, a worker who completes tasks for her client online without having ever met him in the 20th century. So again, this passage also focuses on how internet, the technology, has helped people when it comes to business communication. So you know, right? There are different platforms where sometimes the clients have never met the employee, but the task is done and they get paid. For example, platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, right? And there are so many. So in such places, you have the chance to incorporate technology. So you can read this part and answer these two questions. How does technology enable individuals to communicate and maintain business relationships without meeting face to face? Right? And the next question, the last question from the passage, is what is a virtual assistant and how did technology contribute to the emergence of this role in the 20th century? So you can answer these two questions after reading this part, this paragraph. Right. As the final activity, I have created, now this was supposed to be a group activity, but since you're watching the recording, you can find the importance of business communication. We have already talked about this one, importance of business communication. And also you can find about the challenges. What are the challenges that are there for effective business communication? We will be talking about the challenges next week, right? We have talked about the uh, importance of business communication, and we will be talking about challenges to effective communication next week. So you can you can do a research and find what are the challenges to effective business communication, right? What are the challenges that are there? And I want you to create a paragraph based on the information you have found, right? What are the importance and what are the challenges? Right. So for the final part of our lesson, we have to know how to use the language politely and professionally and in a helpful way to make the business conversation successful. We are going to watch a video and see uh, about the words, phrases, and how to be polite in business communication.
Well, hey there, I'm Emma from English. I've been getting lots of requests for lessons that will help you to expand your vocabulary and help you to sound more professional when speaking in English. So that is exactly what this lesson is all about today. I'm going to take some very common everyday English verbs and improve them a little, or give you some more impressive ones to use instead.
Right. So when it comes to business communication, you might already have some words and phrases that you know that can be used to make your communication effective. In this video, she's going to talk about some other, and maybe she will be talking about the things that you know already, but listen to what she's saying and how she incorporates the words, phrases to make it polite and make it more helpful when it comes to business communication.
If you're ready to do that, stick around. I want to jump in with a quick message from our friends at Lingoda to talk about their business English course and the factory, which are general conversational English. The language that we use at work tends to be more formal. So for anyone studying English to advance their career, being able to communicate professionally is going to help you to do that. Luckily, at Lingoda, not only can you study French, Spanish, German, and what I love about this is skills that you need to interview to succeed. Or
hello. Communicate in English easily. Use Grammarly and feel
that we do when we're at work. We think about things, we make things, we change things, we guess, we solve problems, and we work together. Now, all of these words are good, and they will definitely help you to communicate your message. But they're quite basic. So if you want to sound impressive, impress your boss, sound more professional with colleagues and clients, then upgrading these words will definitely help. So let's start with the verb think. Specifically, to think of or to think about something. to think about attending an event or asking for a raise. Now we can upgrade this phrasal verb to consider. Consider. So instead of saying, I will think about your suggestion, say, I will consider your suggestion, but I need to find some extra budget before I approve it. We can also upgrade, have you thought about employing? Have you considered employing a marketing assistant in-house? Now, if you're thinking about something and the decision is difficult for some reason, it's also important, then using deliberate is a much better choice. Deliberate. So it's also a synonym of think about, but it's used when you're making a really tough decision and you've got to take some extra time to decide carefully. You've been deliberating all week on this. Are you any closer to a decision? We also have this idea of thinking something is. I think Ben is one of the best mentors in our organization. But we can improve this by using the verb believe. I believe Ben is one of the best mentors in our organization. So it sounds much surer, more confident, and more assertive. We can also use consider here as well, but the structure changes a little. So I want you to pay close attention to what changes in this sentence. We can say, I think or I believe Ben is, but we can also say, I consider Ben to be one of the best mentors in our organization. So when you use this language, it helps you to speak with authority, to be more impressive, more confident. It really sounds like you know what you're talking about. Another really common verb to use at work is to make. That's what we're there doing, isn't it? We're making stuff. And there are lots of different words that we can use instead of make. But it really does depend on the context as to which one you can use or you should use. Let's take a look at this sentence and see how we can improve it. Our team made a report or wrote a report. Can you think of a more professional verb that you could use instead? Should we prepare a report for the board? Our team has already produced a detailed report. So these words, prepare and produce, are almost synonyms. Prepare. Prepare relates to the process a little more. And produce relates a little more to the result. So we often see the collocation produce content, prepare a report. These are useful ones to keep in mind. To create is another verb upgrade on make, right? Especially when you're talking about design or creative activities. Really when you're making something new, you know? We're creating a new concept for the client. Can you create a new image that we can share on social media? We created a design that will suit a range of users. Develop is another synonym for make. It kind of leans a little more towards the process. Our technical team is developing a plan to transition to our new platform by May. Or even better, a strategy. A strategy. They're developing a strategy. We also develop ideas and we develop solutions. We're developing an affordable solution that will make sure every family can access high-speed internet. So these are really important collocations to keep in mind when you're using these verbs. Often the idea of change can be perceived as negative. People don't usually like change, do they? Often we talk about change at work because we need to fix something. It suggests that there is something wrong. So in a professional context, it's definitely important to make sure that you're polite and that you're using language in a supportive way. And I've got some alternative words and some useful expressions that will help you with that. And modify is a really good alternative. Modify. Modify suggests minor changes, tweaks and adjustments, and things that will improve the result. Actually, you could also use the verb adjust. Adjust. If it's okay with you, I'll adjust this a little before we send it to the client. Now, when you're talking about changing ideas or human behavior, then adapt is a really good choice, especially when there is a new situation or a new set of circumstances that's behind that change. Again, nobody really likes change, do they? But if you can use a more positive verb to help talk about that change, then it's much easier to get other people on board, right? The new regulations are tough. There's not much that we can do about it. We just need to adapt and keep moving forward. The word transition is an excellent one to begin using and to understand, because it helps us to talk about the need for change and the process of changing in a comfortable way. So if we transition from one thing to another, it suggests that we sort of move carefully. It's not instant change, which usually scares people. If we talk about transition, it suggests that the change is going to be gradual and carefully considered. We want to make sure that our new team members transition into their new roles as seamlessly as possible.
I'm here standing in Chief Hospital.
Although many of us try not to admit it, we all guess what the heck is going on, right? It's part of solving problems and reducing risk is taking a guess. And there are so many great words that will help you to sound more intelligent and more professional when you have to take a guess. We all do, right? But sometimes using guess suggests that you're a little uncertain, and in a professional context, it can make you seem uninformed or unprepared. So using estimate suggests that you've put some thought into this prediction or this guess, right? Estimate. Estimate. It's difficult to estimate the financial impact for families. Now, calculate is a really good option when you're talking about specific numbers. You calculate. We calculate that this will save $3,000 a month. Now, we have a slightly different word form here, but you can express the same idea by saying, by our calculations, we will save $3,000 a month. When you're thinking about why something happened or you're considering what might happen in the future, then speculate is a great word. To speculate. To speculate. So usually we say speculate on or speculate about something. I don't want to speculate on why he resigned so suddenly. And predict is another great synonym for guess. Predict. Predict. So it's used when you're taking information that you have and you're making a call or a decision about the most likely outcome. Industry experts are predicting significant changes to our working environments post-pandemic. It is difficult to talk positively about problems, right? When things aren't going so well, or maybe they've been a little more difficult than you anticipated. So what words can you use instead of problem, which does kind of have a negative feeling about it, doesn't it? Well, we can say challenge, we can say complication, obstacle. These are all possible replacements, right? In a professional context, we want to make sure that we communicate any problems that we have clearly, but also do it in a way that makes it sound like you have solutions or you have a plan to keep things under control. We overcame several obstacles before we landed on the result. We anticipate some technical challenges, but we're confident that we've got the right team in place to deal with them. We even talk about problems as headaches or hiccups. These are a little less formal ways of expressing it, but they definitely help to emphasize that the problem is not so serious, or that they're problems that can be managed. They're just annoying. I can see how these changes could create some headaches for the sales team, but we're working on a solution. There were a few hiccups with the new ordering system on Friday, but things have been much smoother this week. And lastly, if you work in an office as part of a team, it's very likely that you work together with other people to get things done, right? We work together, we work as a team. But just to clarify, we do not do a teamwork, all right? This is a very common mistake that a lot of my students make. Teamwork is a noun, and we never use it with do, okay? We don't do a teamwork. And a much more professional way to explain that you're working together with someone else or with other people is to say that you collaborate. Collaborate. I'm looking forward to collaborating on projects with you in the future. Now, if you really want to emphasize that two people or maybe two teams with different skill sets or sets of expertise are coming together to work together, we say that they're joining forces. They join forces. And this is quite powerful. When our development team joined forces with our product team, they created something amazing. So there you have it. I really hope that you found a few new expressions to expand your vocabulary range a little. Make sure that you keep these words beside you at work during this week and see if you can apply them. If you're writing an email, make sure you stop before you hit send to try and upgrade some of the language that you're using to sound more professional and more helpful. Now, I like to...
Right. So these were some vocabulary that you can use when it comes to business communication. We will be talking about them in detail, right? So if you find them important, you can write them down and try to make use of them in your day-to-day life when you're doing your business work, when you're working. You can try to incorporate these words when it comes to your work, right? And also, you can create your own sentences using the words we discussed, right? Collaborate, teamwork, and incorporate such words that we discussed. You can create your own example sentences and write these words down in your notebooks, right? So today we discussed about business communication, and the main goal of today's lesson was to talk about give an introduction about business communication, to talk about what business communication is, and also yes, we talked about different methods we use for communication: verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, and visual communication, right? And also we discussed why communication is important and why business communication in general is important, right? We discussed about those things. So in our upcoming lessons, we are going to look at some other parts of business communication where we will be doing some practical sessions, and where we will be discussing about how to do presentations effectively, how to use the language properly when it comes to business communication, and what are the structures, how to do written communication properly. Likewise, we will be looking at many other lessons which are related to business communication. So I hope today's lesson was very helpful to you all, right, in understanding what business communication is, the importance of business communication, and different methods of business communication and how communication is done. So thank you everyone for joining. We will again meet with another lesson related to business communication. Till then, please go through all the lesson material I have shared with you. You can watch the videos I have shared with you. You can note down the important points, right? Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you. And I will see you again.